Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Vitality Principle tip. And in this video, I'm going to go over the principles of being super productive. This is a clip from our habits course that starts this week. And you can access at arenamethod.com or matthewlabosco.com. But in this short video, I go over the 3 key principles to optimizing your efficiency and productivity, and an overview of the system that I have used to basically create everything I've created in my life and get more done in basically 10 to 12 weeks than most people can get done in an entire year. So check it out, enjoy it, and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel or go to matthewlabosco.com so that you could receive the Vitality tips every week. Enjoy. See you all soon. Hey everybody, welcome to Habits. This is our 3rd course in our Arena Method courses. Very excited. The purpose of this course, and if you really stick with what we're going to take you through in the next 10 weeks, I guarantee you that you'll get more done in the next 10 to 12 weeks than most people get done in an entire year. And that is exactly how this course is designed and how it's set up. Get ready to be in high, efficient action with a lot of clarity and a lot of confidence, because that's the ride we're about to take you on. Now, before we jump into this first week, I wanted to share this Steven Pressfield quote because it really says it all. We have 2 lives: the lives we live and the lives we are capable of living. That pretty much says it all. There is so much potential life in life. I personally don't believe it's possible to get all life has to offer out of life. But in order to juice as much life out of life, why not strive for getting it all? We'll fall short of it all, but if we shoot for the moon, we'll end up in the stars. And so this course is really here to give you a system that you can use over and over and over again to maximize time, efficiency, and productivity so that you can juice every last drop of life out of life and get what's most important to you done throughout your lifetime. All right, so first things first, if you've been with me before, you know we always start with principles. And so I'm going to cover 3 principles of our habits course that are going to be themes throughout the entire journey together. And the first principle, those of you that have been with me are probably not going to be too surprised, but it's absolutely critical for maximizing and optimizing your life experience, and that's ownership. Ownership is so important when it comes to creating the life you want to create. If you're not owning your journey, if you're not acknowledging I'm in the driver's seat and I get to drive this vehicle wherever I choose it to go, regardless of the environment, regardless of what's happening, it's going to be difficult to create what's possible to create. And some of you may know Jocko Willink. He is an ex-Navy SEAL, highly decorated Navy SEAL. He's also the author of a book called Extreme Ownership with his colleague, Leif Babbitt. Highly recommend the book, phenomenal book. But he has this idea of extreme ownership, okay? And I loved this concept, I love this idea. And so I'm gonna read to you how he defines extreme ownership. The practice of owning everything in your world to an extreme degree. It means you are responsible for not just those tasks which you directly control, now here's the key right here, but for all those that affect whether or not your mission is successful. I love that, okay? I think it's very easy for us when we're struggling or having difficulty with life's challenges to put a little bit too much focus on the things that affect whether or not our mission is successful, that we may not directly have the ability to influence or directly control. We kind of be like, well, I can't do anything about that. It's like, well, let's ask what we can do about that. right? There are lots of different things that are going to happen in our life that we can't control. I think we have all learned that, no matter where you are in your journey. We absolutely want to create and put the most amount of focus and own the things, the tasks which we have direct control over, the things we can do something about any moment, no matter what's happening. But also extreme ownership is also owning the things that might be affecting your mission, right? Affecting what you're trying to create in your life. And that could be things on the periphery, right? It might be people, it might be places, it might be environments. Like, okay, we can't control people, places, environment. Sometimes we can't control the body either, right? Like that's a place where people can really kind of lose this sense of control is when things happen to the body. But to keep the mind focused, and I'm not saying it's always easy, focused on aligning it in a way that not only has you focused on what you're owning, the things you can do something about, but also focusing on your beliefs, focusing the mind on your perception, your perspective on what's happening, etc. Like those are all things you can own. You can own your mind. You can own your perspective. You can own what you believe. You can own what you perceive. Okay, so when we go through the next 10 to 12 weeks together here, I really want you to think about extreme ownership. Own it in a way that seems unreasonable. And it's not a place of blaming. So let me just speak to blaming. Like, oh, it's my fault. Oh, I'm poor, kind of fall into this victim thing. Oh, I'm accountable for this. No, that's not what this is about. It's about focusing and embracing the power that you have, which is a lot. There are so many people that have been through some pretty, we'll just call them non-ideal scenarios, people whose health are in certain conditions. And it doesn't mean that it's not difficult at times and can't be frustrating. But if we can get the mind to focus on what we can do, not only from an action standpoint, but from a mindset standpoint, right? The difference between kind of looking at a situation and saying it's really bad, it's just so challenging, I don't know what to do about it. Or I could look at it and say, you know what? I'm getting better every day. Hey, I'm learning so much. Hey, I'm going to keep moving forward. Hey, I know it's going to work out. Those are things you can own. Those are things you can focus on. And it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. So that's principle number one. I could talk about this forever. It's so important. And we will definitely see this throughout the course. Next one, principle number two. This is a big one for this particular course, is this idea that our habits equate to our outcomes. Meaning, whatever your habits are today could accurately predict your future. Okay? I don't care what we're looking at, whether it's your health, whether it's your financial situation, whether it's a relationship with a friend or an intimate partner, whether it's your education, your learning, your whatever relationship you have spiritually, whatever your habits are around any of those things in your life, you list to me what you're up to in those spaces and I will predict your future. Because habits predict your future. They will very precisely tell you where you're going to go in the end. Okay, so obviously this is a habits course. So much power in the actions you take and the habits you're inside of your routine every day, because they literally predict your future. They will determine what your life looks like in 5, 10, 20 years, okay? So habits equal outcomes. And I just had this guy, may look familiar to some of you. Aristotle, and very famous quote that I thought was relevant is, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. There you go. So if you want to create excellence in your life, it's the habits that you're inside of every day. It's the little things you do every day. Great outcomes, great results don't come with huge effort all at once. It doesn't work that way. It happens with taking these micro actions, these getting inside of certain routines and habits on an everyday basis that produce extraordinary results over time. And we're going to give you a system that really helps you execute in the most efficient way. Okay, and then the last principle here, principle 3, is urgency. And this is the secret sauce that we're going to kind of put into that we're going to put into this course. The secret sauce is urgency. For those of you that have taken our online class, we go into motivation, right? What motivates us to take action? How do we get ourselves to take the action that's necessary to do the things that we want to do? How do we get ourselves to do the things that we know would be good to do? And one of the things that facilitates and supports motivation is urgency. Okay, and so as we take you through this habits course, you're going to see how we're going to leverage urgency. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a little peek on how we're going to do that, because urgency makes time matter now. Okay, and that's the key. We must make time matter more, because when we're focused too much on, oh, I've got this goal for the next 10 years, I could do nothing this week, this month, and be like, well, it's my 10-year goal. There's no urgency, right? I put in the comments below here, right below this video, a link to a video actually Christian shared with me about procrastination. It's a great, very funny video. It's a TED Talk, 20 minutes. And it talks a little bit about how we procrastinate up until the last week before the test is due, or our dissertation is due, or this huge essay presentation. But man, in that last week, because of the urgency, it's incredible what we can get done, right? And that's because a heightened sense of urgency and an increased focus on a few critical core actions that drive success and fulfillment, coupled with the daily execution of these actions, equate to achievement of long-term goals. Again, it's getting really good at focusing on a couple key actions on a daily basis that get you to the long-term goals. It's not about massive effort. It's about small, and at times it could feel like insignificant amounts of effort that accumulate over time, that compounding effect. You guys remember that from the other courses, that hit the mark long term. Okay, so we're going to leverage this idea of urgency as a principle to get things done. All right, so I'm going to do a quick overview with you guys just so you know what we're going to do over the next 10 weeks. You're not going to be shocked here, but we're going to start with goals. We're going to start with that aim, okay? What is the ideal you're pursuing? This is going to be your compass that will dictate action and perception. If we don't have that North Star, if we don't have that reference point, if we don't put the destination into our navigation system, it's going to be hard to know, do I do X? Do I do Y? Do I make a right? Do I make a left? Do I speed up? Do I slow down? There's no way to answer that unless we've identified where we're going. So that's number one. We've got to get clear on our aim. We've got to get clear on that goal. Next, which again is going to be a significant part of this habits course, is once we've identified where we want to go, we've got to get clear on, well, who do I need to become in order to fulfill that? I think it's really, really important to accept and acknowledge, and I do this for myself, like when I'm trying to create something I've never created before, I acknowledge that who I am today is not capable of creating that. Okay, the first thing that does is it keeps me humble. Okay, it also helps me align my expectations accordingly, because if I name this big goal that I have that I've never accomplished, and I say to myself, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and it's going to go like this, and I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to take this step, and then it's going to be amazing. I'm going to get this done, and blah, blah, blah. In my experience, I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm naming this goal. I have no idea what it's going to take. I have no idea how to get there, but I've created this expectation that it's going to happen like this, and it's going to be great, and I'm going to do it, and blah, blah, blah. And I see people do this all the time. And what happens is we come out of the gates guns blazing, really confident, feeling good about it. And then we hit those roadblocks and it's like, oh man, I guess I can't do it. And the doubt sets in. Well, again, for those who have taken a line, we talked about emotions as communication systems. That doubt is right. When you doubt that you can get this done, the emotional communication system is, yeah, you're right. You don't know what you're doing. So humble yourself, stay committed to what you want to create, but understand you need to become the person that's capable of creating that. So change your expectations here. This is so important. I need to become the person and behave differently than I'm behaving now so that I can get myself to take the next step. Okay? Simple example of this is, people that want to write a book, right? Or someone who's trying to quit smoking. If you identify yourself as a smoker that's trying to quit smoking, your identity is not lined up with your goal, right? So if I'm trying to quit smoking and someone offers me a cigarette, you could say, you know what, I'm trying to quit. I've identified myself as a smoker who's trying to quit. But let's say I've been smoking for 20 years and I'm not going to smoke anymore, and someone offers me a cigarette. If I embody the identity, it's, oh yeah, no, I'm not a smoker. That identity helps you to behave in a way where you're not going to smoke. People that are writing a book. I'm learning how to write. I don't know how to write. I'm not really a writer, but I'm writing this book. It's like, no, identify yourself as a writer. Identify yourself as an author while you're going through the actions to move towards that. So you want to identify yourself in a way that aligns with the behavior. So we're going to go through that, okay? So if you didn't get all that, don't worry. We're going to spend time on that, right? So that's number 2. Number 3, we got to have systems, man. We got to have systems. We got to have infrastructure. We need routines. We need habits. We're habitual by nature, okay? We as humans, the way our operating system works is we're habitual. Our system is always looking to be as efficient as possible. So it's always looking for kind of, we'll call it the default programming, okay? The path of least resistance. And so we want to make sure that we design the proper systems and techniques that align with being the person we want to be, who takes the types of actions, behavior to get us where we want to go. So we're going to spend time on systems and designing systems, very practical systems around time and execution and routines to ensure that we stay on track. Okay? And then the thing that separates people that get things done from people that don't get things done is number 4. I'll tell you, there are people that definitely do A and C here. This one maybe not so much. This is I would say more recently has been shown to be a huge key in productivity. So the goals and the systems, I feel like you could take 1 billion courses on those things. I mean, time management, how to set goals, benchmarking, blah, blah, blah. People got this if you've gone through this before. If you haven't, then great. But this 4th one is the key. It's execution. So many people have goals, know what they need to do, can't get themselves to do it. They can't execute, okay? And so the key to success is consistent execution, okay? Almost all failures could be tied to the lack of execution. Most of the time, the reason why you don't get where you want to go is because you stop executing. It's not usually because, there are cases, don't get me wrong, that maybe your system's wrong or your actions are wrong. Yeah, it can happen. But more often than not, it's the execution. We stop executing, okay? So we're going to put a lot of focus on taking execution. And more importantly, we're going to tie all these things together, okay? Because if all these things are not interdependently working with each other, and they're all kind of operating in their own spaces, it's hard. You got to get these things to sync together and work with each other and feed each other, okay? So that's what you can expect over the next 10 weeks.